Hey folks, welcome to Grab a Stack of Rock and 50 Years of Iron Maiden. We're here. I can't believe we're already at episode 22. This has been a hell of a fun ride. And we bring with us, for the first time on 50 Years of Iron Maiden, Mr. Davey Cretin from Cretin's Classics.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Now, you've been on Grab a Stack of Rock before. We did the Christmas Marillion list with Bicycle Legs and Todd Evans, but you've never worked with Harrison before.
Correct. Nice to meet you, Harrison.
Yes, likewise.
Well, without further ado, we are talking about Brave New World, the reunion album with both Bruce Dickinson and Adrian Smith. We're going to run you through some album facts to start with. This was recorded from late 1999 to April of 2000 in Paris, France. It is the first with Kevin Caveman Shirley, co-produced by Steve. It was released on the 29th of May 2000, went to number 33 in Australia, number 23 in Canada, number 7 in the UK, but number 1 on their rock and metal charts, and only number 39 in the United States. It did go gold in Canada and the UK. It was 10 tracks, totaling 66 minutes and 57 seconds, and featured for the first time a cover by Derek Riggs and another illustrator. Derek Riggs did the Eddie, and Steve Stone did the nice CG futuristic London there depicted on the cover. A cover I like quite a lot. But Davey, I understand you have some more facts and things for us to look at before we dive into the songs.
Yes, just a few. They called this on the internet for years. They've been calling this the ROB era of Iron Maiden, meaning the return of Bruce. So they always abbreviate it, the Rob era of Bruce. And this started it off, Brave New World. The 6-man lineup here. Because Adrian Smith comes back, Bruce comes back, and Yannick Gers stays in place. So this is the first Maiden album with 3 different guitar players on it. Like you said, produced by Kevin Caveman Shirley. It's got 3 engineers on it. Orchestration on 2 tracks, which I'll get to later, by Jeff Bova, who's famous for working with a lot of pop and rock artists in the 80s. And the heaviest band he ever worked with, Iron Maiden here. This album, the title and the cover and the lyrics of the title track, based on, of course, Aldous Huxley's novel, Brave New World. You got 2 singles, The Wicker Man and Out of the Silent Planet, which we'll get to later. Adrian Smith said in an interview that he did that some of the songs on this album were worked on during the Blaze Bayley era, and they include the title track, Brave New World, written exclusively by Steve, started in the Blaze era but never completed. Also, the Mercenary, Dream of Mirrors, one of my favorites, and the Nomad. Some other chart action really fast. I'll blaze through it, no pun intended. In Austria, number 10, the Belgian charts, there are 2 different charts, Flanders and Wallonia, 12 and 29. In the Netherlands, 16, Finland 2, France 3, Germany 3, Hungary 4, Italy 3, Japan number 13, Norway 4, Scotland number 7, Spain number 8, Sweden number 1 album for Iron Maiden, Switzerland 9, and then I guess it was reissues. In 2010, it hit number 72 on the Swedish charts, and in 2021, flipped the numbers and reversed them, number 27 in Portugal, because Maiden are beloved in South America. Mexico and South America, they are huge. Probably them and Metallica, easily the biggest metal bands in the world. And I have a list of the guitar solos, so hopefully it's right. So when we get to each song, I'll mention who supposedly plays the guitar solos, although it's not listed on the album credits. And I think that Dave Murray gets the most solos on this album, but more on that later. And that's basically all the facts I have. Thanks for letting me add those, Mike.
I'm looking forward to hearing about the guitar solos, because when I was making my notes, I was able to pick out certain times where, it's definitely Adrian, or it's definitely Yannick, and definitely Davey. But then there are other times where it's like, I can't tell which guy it is. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, as you guys are well aware, this album was preceded by a single, and I can remember the day that this came out and going to the store and buying the debut single, The Wicker Man. I bought this picture disc because, I mean, come on, it just looks badass. But I also bought both CD singles because you kind of had to have all the tracks digitally, or at least I thought so. Now, Harrison, you may know a fact about me, which is I don't usually go out and buy duplicates of the same thing. Like these tracks are all duplicated here. I don't normally do that, but Brave New World was such a big deal that I did. I did that for Wicker Man, and I did it for the album itself, which I still have on a sealed vinyl right here.
Nice.
And I did it for the Out of the Silent Planet single that we'll see later on. But for now, we're going to talk about the first single, the first track, the first video. I definitely want to talk about that video. Let's talk about the Wicker Man. Let's start with Davey Cretin.
Okay, first of all, I was working in a record store on Long Island, New York at the time when it came out, and we had an advance promo CD single of The Wicker Man, and it's the different version that you guys know about with the extra, yep, there it is. I have a copy somewhere in my collection. It has the extra lyrics on the chorus of the song, which is not on the album version. It is on YouTube for you guys to check out, and I have the wrong page of notes here. So let me go to it. Allegedly, well, it's co-written by Adrian Smith, Steve Harris, Bruce Dickinson. 4.5 minute song. Of course, the single edit was shorter at 4:16 with the extra words. And the extra words on the chorus, "Thy will be done, don't turn, don't run." So Bruce is singing over Bruce, which is pretty cool. This song was nominated for a Grammy in 2001 for Best Metal Performance. Unfortunately, it lost to the Deftones. What can you do? I mean, Metallica lost to Jethro Tull, but that's a whole other tangent that we're not going to go on. This song, the single, had a lot of chart action. I'll try to blow through this fast. Canada, where you are, Mike, number 4. European Hot 100, number 19. Finland, 11. France, 39. Germany, 38. Greece, number 1, baby. They had a number 1 single. Ireland, 35. Italy, 3. Netherlands, 45. Norway, number 9. Scotland, number 9. Spain, number 5. Sweden, 5. Switzerland, 83. The UK, number 9. And like you mentioned before, Mike, on the UK rock and metal chart, number 1 again. And US mainstream rock, number 19. Chart I've always loved, my favorite in Billboard magazine for decades. And in the year-end 2000 mainstream rock chart in Billboard, number 67. So the song starts off as a classic Iron Maiden song. You got the dual Bruces, he's singing with himself, double track on the pre-chorus and the chorus. It's a catchy chorus, but it's slightly repetitive. That's what I like about the single version. The extra lyrics add a lot of flavor and texture to me. So I like the single version more. And until recently, when I played it, it's been a long time since I've heard that version of it. I've always had my minor quibble with Iron Maiden is sometimes they repeat their choruses a bit too much, and it really comes out in this era of Iron Maiden because a lot of the songs are elongated, as everyone knows from the past 2 studio albums, but you guys will get to that later. I love the riff behind Bruce on the chorus. I like the guitar solo, which allegedly is Adrian Smith, which makes sense because he wrote it from 2.5 minutes till about the 2:51 mark. And then at the ending, you get the sing-along whoa-ohs that are made for audience participation in the arenas. So that's what this song was made for. And it's a great calling card. Excellent first single from the album.
Whew. Okay, so I'm going to subject the audience to a little bit of vocalizing here. The remix version, your time will come, thy will be done. That's how it sounds. And I don't mind it, but what I miss is you're missing that guitar lick because the vocals are going over it, but that you're missing that.
It's a good point.
However, you know, I mean, I want Harrison, I sent you a picture earlier today. How much was that going for on Discogs? Like 117
Uh,
bucks?
177,000, not thousand, 177 Canadian dollars. That
Right. So like
it
this
is
is
a tier 1 Iron Maiden rarity. This thing.
Yep. You sent it to me
right.
too, Mike.
So this is a holy grail that Mike does not own, but we're just adding to that list of holy grails as we go through this show. You mentioned the guitar solo. It's definitely Adrian, and I may have told Harrison this in the past, but I have top two favorite Adrian Smith guitar solos. One of which is Power Slave, and the second of which is the Wicker Man. And I love it. It has two parts. It has this and I love that lick. But then he does this high part, and it's different each time he plays it. And it kind of strikes me as very deep purpley. It strikes me as very Adrian Smith. God, I love the Wicker Man. I love this song. And I mentioned the music video. When this album first came out, it was preceded by, a very poor quality streaming music video that was like, it froze every 10 seconds. And oh my God, the early days of the internet. But there was this weird part in the video where Rover from the Prisoner TV series shows up for no particular reason. And Bruce really does a number on him. He whips him around a bit. There is a Wicker Man in the, should I go get my Wicker Man DVD just for the sake of completion? Shall we go get my Wicker Man DVD? Okay.
Yes, because
I'm gonna
this is sort of based on the film The Wicker Man. The song
right.
is, so yeah.
So let's take a look at that just for some additional visuals. That's all I have to say about the Wicker Man. Again, I love these singles. That's great. Bruce with the torch. That's wonderful. Harrison, take it from here, and I'll be right back to finish it off with my Wicker Man DVD.
All right, so the reunion era in general, it's funny, we call it the reunion era, and it only feels like, just last year that, well, for the older generation, it probably feels like just last year that they got together with Bruce, but it's more than half their career now they've been back with Bruce. So Brave New World, The Wicker Man. So no relation to the Bruce Dickinson solo track Wicker Man. Two completely different songs, but The Wicker Man is an awesome song. I love the Blaze era, but The Wicker Man is a statement, and that statement is Iron Maiden is back. It's quintessential Iron Maiden. It sounds awesome. They even snuck in a Whoa Whoa section in there. This song has sort of become the poster child of the reunion era. It's probably the most frequently played reunion era track. Funny thing is, though, you get one of these no class / tush situations where the intro riff is like sort of really similar to Judas Priest's Running Wild, and nobody in either band has sort of acknowledged it. And Holland has told me that one of the songs from Queensryche's Operation Mindcrime also bears some similarities to the pre-chorus of this song. But yes, that fabled radio version that most people who have heard it consider to be the far superior version of the song, I am in that camp because it takes probably the only quibble I had with the song, that slightly repetitive chorus, and completely fleshes it out. It's, your time will come, thy will be done. Your time will come. Your time will come, thy will be done. Your time will come. Don't turn, don't run, as it fades out. But it's sort of like there's sort of a very little bit of overlap because Bruce is, slightly singing over himself, and people suspect that is why these lyrics were taken off the album cut, because there's no way they'd have been able to recreate that live. With all due respect to Steve and Adrian as singers, they would not be able to pull off that call and response. And Bruce, obviously, as he's finishing one line, would not be able to start the other line.
No, Adrian's a very different kind of singer from that. If you've heard Reach Out or the Smith Kotzen albums. Anyway, that is the Wicker Man right there. And the idea was you put somebody inside of it and you set it on fire. And that's a pretty gruesome way to go. This is the original film with Christopher Lee and Edward Woodward, and it is a beautiful 2 DVD set. And even though it's been since supplanted by superior releases, this is still my go-to copy of the Wicker Man.
I love the jewel case in that box.
Isn't that cute?
CD.
But This is my go-to version. I love it. And basically, I if memory serves, I saw the movie before hearing the song.
Yeah. One
Now,
last
Bruce,
addendum about the radio version of the Wicker Man. I forgot. There are actually a couple other things that are changed in the remix. The first is during the chorus, Nico's drums are much higher in the mix. And the second is that all of the clank to Steve's bass is completely gone and stripped away. And Jake, not from State Farm, actually told me that he's a bassist, Jake, and he told me that he really dislikes the remix because of all that Steve clank that's missing there.
okay, fair. Okay, so moving on to track 2, Ghost of the Navigator. What do you think about this one? This one was written by Yannick Gers, Bruce Dickinson, and Steve Harris. Go ahead, Davey.
Track 2, and it comes in a little under 7 minutes long. And from what I read, what I found on the internet, Yannick Gers does the solo from 4:36 to 5:04. I like the intro guitar work here. It's mellow and intricate, and Steve's bass throughout the song is really good. You get that guitar solo by Yannick Gers, which fits the song, and Nico has some nifty drum fills on this song, and I enjoyed the ending of this song. It's good in the track 2 slot. It's not my favorite song on the record, but I like the way it goes from track 1 to track 2, and I think it fits perfectly. Very good song. It's a good album cut for track number 2.
I like how it changes the groove. We've got the fast-paced Wicker Man, which is almost like the 2 minutes to midnight groove, and then we go to the Navigator, which has just more of a deliberate power groove, I guess. And it's Nico that's really pushing it forward. I think he's great. My notes on this are pretty sparse. I just put that I like that it had that clean picked opening, coupled with one of Maiden's best songs of the reunion era. Yes, I said it. One of their best songs of the reunion era. Great riffing and great vocal melodies. I also noted that I loved the guitar solos, and I wondered if it was Davey and Yannick or not.
All right. So, Brave New World, the album, is an album of highs and lows for me. Each song on it is either my favorite song on the album or I just don't care for it. And it's about a 50-50 split. And Navigator, I don't care for more than I care for. I like the chorus, but the rest of it is just, it doesn't do it for me in the same way that it does for Mike. It's just something I listen to on the way to the chorus. And I will say the intro is far and away the best part of the song.
See, I'm not like that at all. I like the verses and that dun, digga, 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 that riff. I like the whole thing. But
So do I.
I've said my piece. That is I think a pretty decent second track. But moving on to the third one, Dave Murray, Steve Harris, and Bruce Dickinson wrote the title track, "Brave New World," and I'm wondering what Davey thinks about this one.
It's a little over 6 minutes. And from what I found, Yannick does the first solo from 3:59 to 4:33. And then Dave Murray does the second solo from 4:33 to 4:49. I wrote down another cool melodic intro to this song. You get both speedy solos, guitar solos, from Yannick and Dave. And then I like the harmony unison guitar leads after that, where they're both, two of the guys, I'm guessing it's Yannick and Dave, are playing the guitar solo type part in harmony. And I like the mellow outro, so it ends where it began. It's one of those Maiden songs, sort of like Ghost of the Navigator. It starts mellow and ends mellow. This is the same way, and they do that a lot on this particular record, I feel. So I like Brave New World. I remembered, I thought the choruses were a little too much and they went on too long in this song, but it didn't strike me that way listening to it again recently. So I like this song, and I think it's really good. So I really like the first three songs. I think this album starts off really well.
Agreed. You know what I like about that chorus, even though it is repeating this phrase "Brave New World," is that Bruce sings it at least differently each time around. In a brave, and I also like the guitar that backs him. That love that, love that. Interesting though that this is sort of an environmental message with the opening lines about the swan with the twisted wing. Harrison and I both noted during the Fear of the Dark through Virtual 11 era that Steve was writing different kinds of lyrics a lot of the time, more topical, less about, you know, historical characters like Alexander the Great. And I think that's a good thing. I think Maiden can be relevant. I think the guitar tones on that opening section, that burm, 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 I think it's gorgeous. It's nothing like anything Maiden have done before, which I guess comes from possibly Kevin Shirley twiddling some knobs. I like that the keyboards are there. They offer accents, but they're not overpowering. Um, I think the guitar solo is brilliant going on. You know, it goes on a bit and it really explores the three guitars. I think this song is a total triumph. I'm not sick of it yet. And like you, I think we are off to a good running start on Brave New World. Harrison, your thoughts?
Man, I love. Oh, sorry, Davey. Sorry, I thought
Oh,
you indicated that you were
no,
gonna.
I was clapping.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry. So yeah, this is one of my favorites. Like the gentle intro belies a truly energetic attack once we get onto those verses, and those verses are also, you know, dragon kings, dying queens, and you know, you are planned and you are damned in this brave new world. Now, I have read Brave New World many years ago now. I'm not sure what he's referring to when he's talking about dragon kings and dying queens. That bit seems to have slipped my memory, but no, great song. And yeah, that twin guitar harmony towards the end, that is sublime.
Exactly.
Okay. So we all agree. When we got onto Blood Brothers, this is a song reportedly started during the Virtual 11 sessions, and I think you can hear that, but we'll let Davey take it over with this Steve Harris solo right.
A little over 7 minutes here. From what I read, Dave Murray has the first solo, 302 to 328, and then Yannick does the solo from 543 to 612. And this song is written by Steve. Like you said, it's a tribute to his father. And I dig that mellow, swaying, connecting bridge section. Bruce has a lot of words to sing on the verses here. Dave Murray's solo, the first guitar solo, echoes the main melody line, and then at the ending, it just flies off into space. I really enjoy that part. And Jeff Bova is here for the first time with Steve Harris on keyboards, and you get that orchestration section that adds a distinct flavor to the middle of the song. Yannick Gers, if he does the second guitar solo, I think it's very tasty and melodic. And then you get Bruce with Bruce on he's singing with himself on the outro chorus. And once again, the song ends in that mellow manner as it began. So I think this is another good song. I like Blood Brothers. I think it's an excellent fourth song too. So that's why I wanted to do this album. I really enjoyed it. And I remember in the record store, I had a friend at the label. I'll just call him B. He probably doesn't want to be named on the show. And he gave me a lot of promotional materials, posters and flats, those little 12 by 12 album covers they call flats or trims. And I made a big window display in the front window of my store because we had open windows and it was onto a main road on Long Island, Old Country Road. So I had a big display for Brave New World in the front window. And I always played the CD a lot and enjoyed it. So that's why I wanted to do this show, because I really have a fondness for this album in the second half, let's say, of their career. This is my favorite.
So I'm really glad you did a segue into a record store tale, because I played this album when I could get away with it. We weren't allowed to play Iron Maiden in store, but it was a new release and I kind of justified it that way. I played it when there were no supervisors around and got away with it. But I was working with this younger guy, Matty K. And Matty K did not like heavy metal. Matty K was into Dave Matthews Band. So, you know, to me, he doesn't have much of a leg to stand on when he's, you know, critiquing Bruce's vocals. You know, he listens to a guy who goes, and so Blood Brothers. He thought the chorus on Blood Brothers was hysterical. We're Blood Brothers. He thought that was so funny. And put into the context of the year 2000, when the charting bands are like Korn and Crazy Town and Dave Matthews Band and all this stuff. Yeah, it does sound kind of strange for the time. But Maiden, they stuck to their guns. They never went grunge. As Harrison and I talked about in the last few episodes, they did go dark. And I think you can hear that in this song. And I think you can hear what Blaze would do with those opening lines in his more like softer, whispery voice. Now, Blood Brothers itself, I don't think it's one of my favorite songs. I like it, but I think for me, the chorus repeats too much. I'm glad that they double tracked Bruce on the second round through We're Blood Brothers so that you at least get some variation, but I think it's just a bit too much and not enough variation for me. I did want to point out the lyrics you talked about, Steve writing about his father, and I always find it very poignant every time he mentions his father in lyrics, which he did on some of the prior albums that we talked about. But this is what he wrote. Just for a second, a glimpse of my father I see, and in a movement he beckons to me. And in a moment, the memories are all that remain, and the wounds are all reopening again. And man, I could feel that. And I'm not really sure what the lyrics are about, but I think he's asking his father what he would think of the world today and if he has any answers. That's the way I hear the lyrics. They're obviously, like all lyrics, open to interpretation. Over to Harrison on Blood Brothers.
I am so sick of this stupid song. It has been clogging up set lists and live albums for the past 25 years. Anytime something vaguely tragic happens, it's like, boom, here's Blood Brothers. And this time it's dedicated to whichever so-and-so just died in music. And, they only play so many reunion era songs. And so often we have to sit through 7 minutes of Blood Brothers instead of something awesome like the reincarnation of Benjamin Brieg or Brighter Than a Thousand Suns or Passchendaele, but no, we have to hear Blood Brothers on Rock in Rio. We got to hear it on Vivo, and you bet we got to hear it on the Book of Souls live chapter as well. And if it was actually a good song, this wouldn't be so bad. But it is boring and it is repetitive and it is everywhere.
Well, if I could respond to that, it's
Absolutely.
Steve's band, it's Steve's song, and he sort of rules Iron Maiden, I guess, with a velvet glove, we'll say. And I guess if he wants his way, he gets his way. That's the way I look at it. And there are just some songs that certain members of bands want in the set lists, and he just gets his way because he's been the main constant on every single album from 75 till 2025. So this is my song. I want it in the set, and that's the way it is, and everyone goes along with it.
Now,
should have written a better song if you wanted it in the set all the time.
We're gonna get trolls again.
I was gonna pre-warn you that you needed to make the face, but I thought a more genuine reaction would be better.
Anyway. I am going to agree with Harrison. There are certain songs I'd rather hear in the set list. He mentioned Benjamin Brieg. Oh yes, I'd love to hear that back in the set list instead of Blood Brothers. But as Davey said, this is a song that's very personal to Steve. That's probably the main reason why it's in the set. But also, in its defense, on all those live albums you mentioned, that crowd is, we're Blood Brothers. They are there. They are there.
Sing along chorus.
Yeah. So that
like
can't be denied.
With a glass of beer to swing back and forth.
Yeah, you know what? That's a really good way of putting it. It is that. You've got your
it's
arm
like
around
Irish,
your bud.
Sea shanty. Where blood
you got your arm around your bud.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Like in the pubs in England.
Well, after all these lengthy tunes, we need a short one. So closing side one, we have the Gers Harris Mercenary. Over to you, Davey.
One of the shortest songs on the record, a little under 5 minutes. And from what I found, Dave Murray does the first guitar solo, 3 minutes and 2 seconds to 3:20. Adrian Smith does the second guitar solo from 3:20 to 3:38. Yet Yannick Gers co-wrote the song. So it's weird he doesn't get a solo. So this might be one of the times I'm wrong. We'll see what you guys think of it. And I have written down for this song, Bruce spits out more wordy verses, but the chorus is quite good. I like both guitar solos on this song. It's a decent song, but it's my least favorite on the record, I would say. If I was ranking the songs, I would put this at number 10. It's a decent song, but definitely my least favorite on the album, so I really don't have much to say about it. And I'm curious to see what you guys think, who did the solos on this song.
I don't think I noted who I thought made. No, I didn't make notes of that. I don't know. I had trouble discerning some of these solos exactly who the players were because there is some overlap in their styles sometimes. What I wrote for this song is that it was written for Virtual 11, although I do have a hard time hearing Blaze sing it. That's not the case with all the songs that were, Blaze era holdovers. On some of them, I can definitely hear Blaze, but not this one. It's the heaviest song in the album to date, but it has a great hook with that nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. You've got to kill to stay alive. I like what Davey said about Bruce spitting out the words. That's it. That's accurate. That's accurate. That one line, like, what is it? Iron fist, iron will, or something like that. He's really spitting out the words there. I also like that Bruce does this cool vocal grunt on the outro. He just kind of goes at the end, if you listen carefully. What I don't like is the design of this vinyl, where it's really hard to see where side 1 and side 2 go. Oh, and you know what? They're not even. It's on 2 records, so it's not even
It's
like
double
that at all. Yeah, it's double vinyl. See, I wouldn't have known that because I didn't open it. But I don't like that you can't see where the different sides are. Anyway, I guess I said that was, you know what? In terms of listening to this album, I really hear it as 5 songs on side 1 and 5 songs on side 2. That's how I hear it in my mind. And I'm sure on a cassette release, if somebody out there has a cassette, I'm sure that's the way it is. I'm sure it's 5 and 5. So I'm going to maintain my statement that this is the side 1 closer based on that. Over to you, Harrison, on the Mercenary.
All right, so really awesome verses here. Chorus less so to my. I'm going to go on a weird tangent that is a bit of foreshadowing for something that we're going to do in a few episodes' time. But I think this would sound really good if the Bee Gees covered it, and I'm just going to leave that there.
Yes, folks. No, Davey, actually, what Harrison's talking about is a really cool thing that I can't wait to do the episode on. So, foreshadowing, folks, some food for thought, perhaps. So, moving on to what I'm going to call side 2, just to be consistent, we have the epic song Gers Harris written, Dream of Mirrors. I happen to know for a fact that Davey likes this song because he sent me several voicemails of him singing it in sort of like a swing jazz style. And so I know he likes it. Let's hear what he has to say.
Written by Yannick Gers and Steve Harris, Dream of Mirrors, 9 minutes, 20 seconds long. And Yannick Gers supposedly does the solo from 7:25 to 7:47. I will be up front and say that this has always been my favorite song. And in honor of you two guys, I spelled favorite in my notes with a U. So it's always been my favorite song on this album. I think everyone shines here, especially Bruce to my ears. I love his vocals on this song. The way the song starts off is great. It's mellow and, well, it starts off kind of heavy with the bam, bam, and then the vocal part, bam, bam, and then do, 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 do. You get Bruce's bass there, and then the song slowly builds for a couple of minutes until it just breaks into that first chorus. I love the drumming by Nico on this song, and the way he uses dynamics throughout the song is exquisite. Love his drumming here. And then you get the double time. It goes into the speedy double time section right before the 6-minute mark with some stellar unison guitar riffs. You get a sweet solo by Yannick, allegedly, hopefully. And then from 8:10 to 8:48, you get the final choruses back to the regular tempo, and you get that mellow ending. And I just love this song. Easily my favorite on the album, Dream of Mirrors. Excellent.
Easily his favorite on the album. He said it. Okay. I like it, but not as much as Davey. This song was written for Virtual 11, and this time I think you can really hear it. I think this would have sounded
Blaze
great.
actually claims that he contributed some lyrics to the song, but went uncredited.
Yep.
And,
true.
I wonder, how much, like if you changed a couple of words, if you really deserve a credit. I don't know. Anyway, Not going to worry about that.
Iron Maiden, when it comes, this is something we'll get into on the next album, but Iron Maiden, just because you contribute something to the song like a guitar solo doesn't mean you deserve a writing credit. There is a song on the next album where they were like, well, we felt that this instrument was instrumental to the song. That's why we gave this member a credit for this song, whereas he doesn't usually get credits, writing credits.
Harrison's being so dicey, even though it's obvious who we're talking about. Anyway, Dream of Mirrors. It's that repetition aspect. I don't care for it on this song so much, just like I didn't on Blood Brothers, but I do think it would sound great with Blaze singing. Even the subject matter of this is more in line with those Blaze era Iron Maiden albums, the dark thoughts and the bleak dreams. To me, this is one of those things where I kind of wish I could have heard it with Blaze just to hear it. But Davey was talking about some of the musical aspects of this song, and that there's that guitar part, the light guitar part, the diddle diddle, that finger picking. Oh man, when Maiden go soft, when they incorporate soft with their metal, you know, as they did way back on that first album and the second album, it's I've said this so many times on the show, chef's kiss, as the kids say.
It's the light in the shade from Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, but Maiden do it in such a different, unique way, and I love it. That's why we love this band. Anyway, Harrison, tell us about Dream of Mirrors.
God, I love this song so much. I mean, you know, half the song is my favorite song. Half the album is half my favorite song on the album, and this is one of my favorite songs on the album. Awesome intro, awesome chorus, awesome break, and just an awesome song. I mean, as we point out, structurally, it's the most reminiscent of Virtual 11, with that sort of like long, drawn out, with the same sounding chorus melody to say "The Educated Fool," and then that fast break from like "Don't Look to the Eyes of a Stranger." The chorus melody is a highlight for me. I do actually prefer it with Bruce. I think this song is better on Brave New World than it would have been on Virtual 11. But man, listen to Nico going crazy back there during that fast break. And there's even a great whoa, whoa, whoa section to cap it all off. And this is getting ahead of ourselves by an episode or two, but I am so glad that they played this one live.
Excellent. So this moves us on to another shorty. I think the shortest. This is The Fallen Angel, written by Adrian and Steve. Davey.
This one is the first Iron Maiden song, allegedly, with guitar solos by 3 different members of the band. You get Adrian Smith, 235 to 249, Dave Murray, 249 to 303, and then Yannick Gers from 304 to 316. And that's what it said when I found it. It's the first Maiden song with 3 different guitar players contributing solos. I like
first
this song.
studio track. I think when they played at Donington, they might have given all of them a little bit to do. Well, that depends if you count 2 of them playing the same solo, sort of like with each other as each of them getting a solo, or whether one's just simply doubling the other solo. But I'm arguing pedantics here, so I'm going to shut up now and let you continue.
Okay. Like Mike said, it's the shortest song on the record, and I like this song a lot better than the Mercenary. Dave's middle solo, or whomever plays the middle solo, is my favorite. And I wrote down it's a short, sharp shock between 2 epic tracks on the record. So I really enjoyed The Fallen Angel, and I'm surprised it wasn't a single. And that's my thoughts on the song.
So I have another record store tale here, and I had this customer. I think his name was Tony. We're just going to call him Tony Macaroni. That was what we used to call him behind his back. But I think he was like an investments kind of guy. He always wore like a suit jacket, and he was friendly. He loved the metal, and he was always asking, "So Mike, what's new in metal? You know, what can I listen to in rock and metal?" And you know, I can't remember who his favorite bands were, but I was trying to get him into Bruce Dickinson around the time that Accident of Birth came out, and Chemical Wedding. I remember playing that one for him, and he thought it was like demonic, way too evil. But I said, I think you're going to like this one more than that Bruce solo album. It's not as heavy. It's pretty cool. Give it a listen. Well, wouldn't you know, he puts on The Fallen Angel. And this is what he hears. Azazel is beside you. He's playing a game. Demons are inside you, and they're making their play, watching, and they're hiding as they wait for the time for a devil to get ready and take over your mind. Azazel is a fallen angel who introduces humans to forbidden knowledge. Tony Macaroni was Christian, very Catholic, and he Mike, no, take this off. No. Oh God, no. I don't think he ever asked me for a music recommendation ever again.
It's a
Ever
great
again.
story.
Anyway, it's a heavy song. Steve Harris said the song musically is kind of like a heavier Thin Lizzy. And yeah, I can hear that. I can hear that in The Fallen Angel. It's not a personal favorite of mine though. It's a shorty, which is perfect because I'm just kind of eager to get on with it. It serves its purpose as a really heavy song on side 2. But for me, it's like on to the next song. And on to Harrison.
Man, I love this song. It's another one of my favorites on the album. This back-to-back pairing of Dream and Mirror's Fallen Angel, amazing. Best part of the album. I mean, where to start? I mean, it's got a really awesome chorus. I love sort of in some of the choruses, there's this descending guitar line that comes down in the background behind Bruce. We've been talking about sort of little ways Iron Maiden sort of like stave up, make things interesting and different to avoid some of the repetition. That's one of the things here. The bass has this real awesome clank that you can really sink your teeth into here that really adds to the heaviness. Maiden aren't traditional heavy metal, and Steve's bass is usually pretty light. Iron Maiden songs are usually pretty light on the bottom end, but this one has a lot of bottom end there. Bruce has some grit on the verses as well to add some character and some texture to the song.
Bruce sounds so into it on this album. Through the whole album, he sounds so into it. But now we move on to maybe the most epic of the album epics, arguably the Nomad, written by Davey and Steve. Not that Davey Murray. But we're going to ask Davey Cretin what he thinks about the Nomad.
It's the second longest track on the record, a hair over 9 minutes, but shorter just than Dream of Mirrors. And again, supposedly from what I found, you get 3 different solos from 3 different gents. Adrian from 256 to 319, Yannick 319 to 333, and then Dave from 334 to 349. And this to me is a throwback to the Power Slave era on this song. You get that Egypto sounding, that Middle Eastern type vibe. That's what I get from it. I wrote down another epic in the Power Slave vein, meaning the Power Slave album and song. I love the guitar riff between Bruce's vocals on the chorus. I love when that little part comes in. Adrian's first guitar solo is probably my favorite of the 3. Steve has some nice bass work. And once again, Jeff Bova comes in on the orchestration, the keyboard. You get that mellow middle section. This time, it reminds me shades of Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner here. So to me, this is a throwback song, and I really enjoy it because Power Slave, such a phenomenal album. I like the change in tempo and melody in 540 and the way it builds back into the main body of the song. Slowly, steady, climbing, and then at 742, Bruce is back. So that 2-minute chunk from 540 to 742, I think is makes the song really epic. It's got a great outro, great ending. I think it's another great song, but to me, it's not as good as Dream of Mirrors. That's just my personal taste, but another really fine Iron Maiden song on this album.
I really love that 2-minute section that you were talking about. There's so much good stuff going on there musically. There's that do 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 do. There's that part, and it as you said, it builds and it builds. Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome. And I totally get the Power Slave vibes. Maybe throw in a tad of Seventh Son vibe in that middle section. I love this song with the exception of 2 things. I don't like the refrain of Nomad. That doesn't hit it for me. And I find the lyrics a little clunky. Anytime a band starts singing about desert sands, you risk just sounding really clunky. And I get a Spinal Tap vibe. I'm sad to say I get a Spinal Tap vibe from these lyrics, something along the lines of Clam Caravan. I hear I'm sorry. I'm gonna get the tomatoes thrown at me this time. I hear a little bit of Spinal Tap in the Nomad, but I still like the Nomad. I think I like it more musically than I like it. I definitely don't care for it lyrically. I find it very simple. No man has ever understood your genius. What does that mean? It's a Nomad. easy to understand. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. Sometimes I find with Maiden and particularly Steve lyrics, I find that sometimes we're going for words that rhyme. And I'm sorry to be saying this because I really love this band and I actually do love this album, but I have to be totally honest and totally blunt. And if we get trolls in the comments, we get trolls in the comments. Over to Harrison.
Yeah, well, let's reprise one of the other things we said on an earlier episode. Oh, I haven't seen Spinal Tap, so it doesn't affect me. Blah blah blah. Anyway, I'm not a fan of this song. It's got these cool things, little things going on here and there, or throughout the song, but man, that chorus is not one of them. Ugh.
And I can't really picture Blaze singing that chorus. Nomad. And the song was written for Virtual 11, so I'm not sure what the chorus would have
Well,
been.
it was.
I have
These songs were started during the Virtual 11 sessions. They were
Right.
likely refined and polished more. It's possible that there weren't lyrics or a vocal melody at the time, and it was just a musical thing. I don't know.
Okay. No, you're right that we have to leave this that open. The question remains. Okay, so we're moving on to the end of the album here. Right before we finish, we have the penultimate track, which is a single by Gers, Dickinson, and Harris. It's nice to see that writing lineup again. And it's a song called Out of the Silent Planet.
We are.
Which has nothing to do with the King's X album of the same title. I have the 12-inch here, picture disc. I don't believe I've ever opened it. Nope, that is still factory sealed.
Sweet.
I did open my 7-inch red vinyl, number 728. Who knows out of how many? 7,282. This one's numbered as well. 17,871. You can see I bought that at the local HMV store. And I have 2 CD singles. I have this nice digipack. Ooh, and Harrison's got a different one from me.
Oh.
You have a totally different one from me, which is cool. Cool to see. And inside, we get the Maiden poster, which is just on one side, just, it's not a very big poster, but.
Yeah, not as big as the Man on the Edge one.
No, we've seen larger. And I like that photo, even though it kind of puts Bruce sort of like in the what I call the Bon Jovi position.
Yeah,
Singer and he's right. I like the picture because they look cool, but I don't like that it's not very Maiden-y. And I also have this promo single here, which has the edit version of Out of the Silent Planet on it. And interestingly enough, it also has The Fallen Angel and Brave New World on it.
How long is the edit version?
I have that. It should be 410.
410, right. So this CD single, Out of the Silent Planet, is listed as 408. And the B-sides are Aces High and Wasted Years, both live, which we'll touch on later.
Right. And those are the same.
Got this cover.
That's cool. Now, see, the difference
sort of harkens forward to Different World off A Matter of Life and Death.
You're right. Also shades of Seventh Son with the disembodied head, kind of the evil that men do. The difference between yours and mine, though, is look, this is numbered as well. 45,254. The difference between yours and mine is this has a live video of Out of the Silent Planet on it.
Right.
Which who knows if that even really works anymore. I didn't even try it. Anyway, I've yammered enough about the release. Davey, talk about the song Out of the Silent Planet.
Okay, before I do that, just to go back to Spinal Tap for a moment, I saw Spinal Tap live, and there is a video on my channel where I discuss seeing Spinal Tap live, and they did do Clam Caravan live at that show, of all things. And Mike and I were talking recently, and he said that no one who'd been on the shows had met any of the members of Iron Maiden. And on the Fear of the Dark tour, I actually did meet some of the members of Iron Maiden. Dream Theater was opening for Iron Maiden at the Ritz in New York City, and I had backstage at the show, and I met both, it wasn't Bruce, it was Steve Harris and Dave Murray, and I met them backstage. I think I had them autograph my CD booklet, and I just remember that they seemed really short. because usually you think of actors and musicians as larger than life and they're these big figures. And to me, they were just these short British blokes. I mean, they were a little shorter than me. Not that I'm tall, I'm about 5'10" or so. I think they were a little shorter than I was. And I was like, oh, I just figured they'd be like 6 feet tall, larger than life rock stars. And they were just these little dudes backstage. So it was really cool meeting them. They were nice guys. I got nothing bad to say about them. So moving on to this song, Out of the Silent Planet, 6.5 minutes. And like we said, the edit takes off over 2 minutes of it. So single edits, just skip it. Don't even bother with it. Yannick has the guitar solo from 351 to 449, almost a minute long, which makes sense because he's the main writer on the song. Some really fast chart action. Finland, number 13, France, 72, Germany, 66, Italy, number 10, Netherlands, 87, Portugal, 5, Spain, 16, Sweden, 35, UK, number 20, and once again, UK rock and metal chart, number 2. To me, the guitar solo ending section saves this song. There's the patented Maiden gallop that begins at the ending chorus, and the ending chorus goes on for a little too long, perhaps. I still think Fallen Angel would have made a better single in the song. It's kind of a lengthy song to chop a couple of minutes off and make a single out of it. It's good. It's not my favorite song, maybe my second least favorite on the album, but it's still a decent song. It's not something I would skip. I usually play the album straight through, all 10 tracks. So those are my thoughts on Out of the Silent Planet. We are.
I always found this song kind of almost surprisingly catchy. Like I almost thought it was almost too melodic for Iron Maiden. But I like it. I think it's a good single. Let's go to my notes here. The transition between the Nomad and Out of the Silent Planet is really cool. It just sounds good. I really like the way that's executed. And of course, you would miss that if they did the edit version instead of this. I thought the Gurr's guitar intro was very wasted years. I thought that because this is so melodic, it was an immediate choice for a second single. Though I think the edit version works. It kind of kicks in right away in the first verse without the Gurr's intro or the lush Out of the Silent Planet sing-along bit. Also, I think the solo is a little truncated on the single version. But, I think Harrison might have some additional thoughts on Out of the Silent Planet and the edit version.
It's possible The Fallen Angel was left as an album cut and not put out as a single because they didn't want a redux of the Number of the Beast Christian controversy.
Learn from Tony Macaroni. Yes.
Valid point.
Yeah. But anyway, Out of the Silent Planet. This is a cool song. I like it. The chorus harmony sort of like balances the line between overdoing it and sort of like being just right, and I think it works. Yeah, like Mike said, it's surprisingly catchy. It's a song that, on the second listen, you'll be like, yeah, this is really good. It's really funny though. Before Mike told me that there was an edit version of Out of the Silent Planet that we'd be briefly touching on. In my notes, I'd written, God damn, this intro is so unnecessary. They shouldn't have bothered. Just cut that out and just start with the proper song. And then I messaged Mike and I'm like, right, I count 6 live B-sides and then the 2 versions of Wicker Man. Is that it? He's like, oh no, there's an edit version of Silent Planet 2. Removes the intro. And I'm like, oh, figures.
And it turns out that you own it. You have the CD single right there.
Yeah. I didn't listen to this version of Silent Planet, so I didn't know that it was cut down. Well, yeah, I listened to the album basically, but yeah, I bought this for the B-sides.
Let's just real quick before we say goodbye to this song, let's just real quick see all 3 versions of the cover art there. So on my left here and on your right, we have sort of TV screens, it looks like, with Eddies in them. And then we have sort of like this presidential Eddie. Is that? Yeah, I guess so. And then we have
media conference Eddie there.
Yeah. And then Harrison's Eddie is literally holding the world in the palm of his hands while he is very ghostly and cloud-like above. I love all 3. Yeah. I think yours is probably a Derek Riggs. And this looks also
the
like
cloud definitely is.
This one here kind of looks like Derek, but it doesn't have his typical lightning eyes. No, Mark Wilkinson. This is Mark Wilkinson.
That's what I
There you
thought.
go. Of Marillion fame. There you go.
Yeah. What does the promo? Can you just hold that one up again real quick? Okay, yeah. So they all use the chopped off ends logo, but on the spine of this one, Iron Maiden, the band name is just typed out in text. They don't use a band logo. But I think I have. Let's see, artist credit. Yeah, it just says cover Peacock design. It doesn't actually go into who actually created it. Oh well, this is a Japanese CD single too. If it matters, I bought this one from Japan. No,
That's
no
really
bonus
cool.
tracks. But...
This brings us to the end, the closing track. Another epic, The Thin Line Between Love and Hate, Murray Harris. So, Davey, tell us what you think about this one as a closer.
In researching this online, it said that Dave Murray plays the first 4 guitar solos and Yannick Gers plays the last one, but then someone was saying, no, they're all Dave Murray. So see if you guys have any thoughts on that. I think the song moves along pretty steadily until it slows up slightly at the halfway mark. And to me, Dave Murray's solos each get better from the first to the third. Then there's a total breakdown of the song at the 5-minute, 20-second mark. And then you get that great guitar line that Bruce echoes with the vocals. I love that part of the song. It's magical to me. And then Bruce sings the guitar solo. I think that's one of the highlights on the album. And then you get the 4th solo by Dave Murray, which to me is the most dynamic solo out of the first 4. And then, as I wrote down, allegedly, Yannick plays the last solo. And you get some great cymbal work, great China work at the end of the song by Nico McBrain. And then as the song ends, you hear him say, quote, "Yup, I fucking missed it." And then he laughs, and then the song ends. So it's kind of an unusual way to end the album, but as a song, it's a great song. And just the ending and the dynamics of the end of the song make it another epic track. And I think it's a winner and a great way to end this classic album, because now it's 25 years old. It's a classic album.
Afraid so. It is a classic album. Now, regarding that ending, just to elaborate on that, after he says he fucking missed it, then Steve Harris on the intercom goes, "We got that on tape. Fucking missed it." And I believe, and Harris and I have talked about this during our X Factor episode. I find this very reminiscent of the ending of X Factor, where you can hear some chatter at the end of the track, and somebody goes, "That was the one." And I love that kind of studio thing. It reminds me of Led Zeppelin, you know. And I incidentally, speaking of Led Zeppelin, I do hear some Led Zeppelin on Nomad in the guitar solos. That Middle Eastern vibe. I'm hearing some Led Zeppelin. So that's just a backtrack. But the thin line between love and hate in this round of listening to the album, which I always immerse myself, do 20 listens maybe in the space of the 2 weeks preceding. Thin line between love and hate's my favorite song on this round of listening. I love it. I love that Bruce's vocals are double tracked throughout. It gives it a very different vibe. I liked some of the lyrics. I thought, "We are right to put the blame on society, these things." That was interesting. And again, there's a lot of social commentary creeping into Iron Maiden lyrics from Fear of the Dark. Actually, you know, even Public Enema #1 and onwards, we're getting social commentary from Iron Maiden. And I don't mind that. I think that refrain of "I will hope, my soul will fly, and I will live forever," that kind of refrain just makes you feel good. Then he sings it again and it's double tracked and it just gets more powerful. Now, regarding the solos, I thought it was all Davey, but I'm certainly no expert. He does a lot of wah-wah in some of the solos. In some of the solos, I get that vibe where he's playing the guitar with his teeth like he does live. You know, I just get that gonzo Dave Murray sound. Expertly executed. I think this is some of his finest guitar work of his entire career. Now, maybe it's that outro bit that might be Yannick. I don't know, but there's a softer outro bit that's really delicate, and it's just, you know, magic fingers on the guitar. I think it's wonderful. Whether that's Davey or Yannick, I wouldn't know, but I called it the punctuation mark, the emotional punctuation mark at the end of the song. So yeah, this is absolutely a favorite of mine. I think it's one of the greatest Maiden closers of all time, with that chorus of, I will, what was it? I will hope, my soul will fly, and I will live forever. I think that's just magnificent. And I can't wait to see what Harrison has to say about this one.
Contrarian time, baby. For me, this song is a big steaming pile of meh. In my notes, I wrote there is literally nothing of note here. I had to struggle to force myself through this 10 plus minutes of this song listening to it. And on most listens of this album, I don't make it all the way through this song. I get to like the first, there's a thin line between love and hate. And I'm like, I've had enough of this. Eject.
Whoa.
Need a minute to collect my thoughts. Oh,
Different strokes for different folks.
wow. I don't know if we've ever had such serious disagreements on songs before in this entire series. I don't know. Oh my God. Okay. Well, that's the closer. That's it. That's the album. I love it. Harrison would prefer a different song close the album. But fortunately, what we do have next are some live B-sides. I don't have a lot to say here. I think Harrison might have more to say. But what we have on the two Wicker Man singles we have Power Slave and Man on the Edge, which would be the very first time Bruce has been on a released version of Man on the Edge. And on this one, we have the only time. There you go. Yes, you're right. Yes. And same with Future Real. I believe that's also the only time.
Yeah. In fact, Future Real is our only official live version of the song, period. And it's with Bruce on vocals.
Fascinating.
That is interesting, because Man on the Edge live by Blaze we covered on a previous episode on a previous B-side. You also get Killers live on this one. And on this one, we get Wasted Years and Aces High. And basically, aside from the fact that you're getting, for the first time, versions of these with Bruce, and in some cases, versions of these with Yannick on released versions, really the only one I didn't particularly care for was Aces High. I thought it was a little on the ragged side vocally. Everything else I loved. I don't really want to step into who sings the song better, because I liked Bruce's approach on all of them. I think some of his song intros are funny, where he talks about a briefcase, a lunch, and a man on the edge. I don't know. I think Harrison might have. Oh, and Wasted Years. Sorry. Do not waste your time searching for those wasted beers. Those are the two intros I liked of this bunch. I think they're valuable B-sides. I think everybody should have them. What do you think, Harrison?
All right. So as we got into, when we touched on when we did the Ed Hunter episode and we talked about the tour, this is probably my favorite Iron Maiden tour of all time, the Ed Hunter tour, sort of tied with Legacy of the Beast tour. Depends if I'm feeling more reunion era or classic era. I think it was a set list for the ages, a real good look at what came before. And I'm so glad that even though we haven't got a full-length live album, we got some really cool songs out of it. So Wasted Year, this sounds phenomenal. This is my favorite live version of the song, far and away. Aces High, this is another awesome version. I love how the crowd surges with this cheer when the engine starts. Bruce has this cool grit on the early verses, but his high notes are still intact for the chorus. And the guitar sound is very close to the original, because you know how they play the first bit of it before it gets going. They play that on tape. Sometimes I think like Flight 666, there's like a real noticeable different sound to the guitars, but this sounds pretty close to that original Power Slave sound. Future Real. Musically, this is awesome, but I'd say Bruce sounds a bit bored and lifeless on the verses. Now, this isn't a criticism of Bruce more. It's simply a byproduct of the fact that Bruce has to sing a song that was written for Blaze Bayley to make the most of his voice, which for Bruce is a fairly comfortable register. It's a shame this is the only official live release of the song, but that twin guitar solo is awesome. Man on the Edge, this is much better than Future Real. I was actually really digging Bruce's take on this song. if you look at the sort of bootleg aggregators for this tour, apparently Bruce mucked up the lyrics to this song like all the time. I think this is probably one of the few versions we got where he got them all right. So, Killers. This is an all right version. Bruce is singing in this very clean baritone as opposed to a bit more gritty one, and I don't think that suits him or the song. There is a killer, pun intended, solo here, my favorite part of the song is Bruce's like hearty evil cackle at the very start. He really gets into it. And lastly, Power Slave. This is an epic version.
Yeah, it is. And in some cases, I think Power Slave first version with Yannick, Killers first version with Yannick released on a CD. I think so. Davey, what did you think when you heard these songs?
Well, the only two I really listened to are the two from the Blaze era. I listened to Future Real, which was never one of my favorite songs from the Blaze era, but I really always enjoyed Man on the Edge. And I think that Bruce sounds really good. I was watching a version on YouTube, and it seems that he's looking at a teleprompter for the lyrics on the verses. But then when the chorus comes, I love the way he sings Falling Down, the way he does it. Sometimes he puts the mic out for the audience to sing it, then he takes over again. I think he does a really good job on that song. And to me, that he does a great version of that song. So I really like Bruce's take on Man on the Edge. So those are the two I'm going to comment on, the two I played for this show.
Awesome. Well, this is usually the point of the show where we hand it over Harrison to talk about the Brave New World Tour, and then I want to quickly take a look at the album cover one more time. But Harrison, tell us all about the Brave New World Tour.
Alrighty then, the Brave New World Tour, or as it was known in some places, the Metal 2000 Tour. 83 shows across 2000 and 2001. They were back to the arenas and the festivals now. We're getting sort of big shows again. Iron Maiden getting back into their element and where they should be. It was mainly Europe and the US. They did have about 6 or 7 shows in Japan, and then a handful of dates in South America at the end of the tour. Now, Setlist FM and Wikipedia and generally everything counts the 3 Clive Aid shows in 2002, the charity shows they did for Clive Burr. That counts them as part of the Brave New World Tour. I don't, even though it uses the same costuming and set design. I count them as separate shows. So I'm not going to be talking about them when I talk about what was played, what wasn't, blah, blah, all of that. We'll probably touch on that when we talk about these reissued singles, because there were some in support of Clive Burr. But anyway, the set list. So 6 songs from Brave New World played on the regular. The Wicker Man, Ghost of a Navigator, and Brave New World. And then Mercenary, Blood Brothers, and Dream of Mirrors. Now, also, in addition to that, Out of the Silent Planet and The Fallen Angel were played both at a handful of dates each as a second encore, one after the other. Most notably, this happened in Argentina on the third last date of the tour at the Monsters of Rock Festival. Bruce talks about how normally we end the show, but we're going to do a couple extra for you, and they play those 2 songs. Now, this show was filmed for TV, and presumably was filmed as a sort of option / backup for their live album if there were, say, technical difficulties at Rock in Rio. Now, they ended up using the Brazil show, which was the final date of the tour. They used that for Rock in Rio, but unusually, we didn't get these 2 songs as a bonus on the DVD of Rock in Rio, because they didn't play these 2 songs at that Rock in Rio show, even though they were filming the show, oddly enough. Missed opportunity, I think, because this is the only time that either of these songs were played live, and I would have loved to have heard The Fallen Angel. The rest of the set list was a smattering of classic songs from the debut all the way up to Seventh Son, but skipping somewhere in time, as they did sometimes. The most notable omission was Run to the Hills, which was only played in Chile and Brazil. Unthinkable at the time. But going off into the future, Brave New World had a pretty solid representation going forward. The Wicker Man and Blood Brothers, both very common. My thoughts on the latter have been made clear. Brave New World, Ghost of a Navigator would also pop up occasionally, most notably on the 2010 leg of the Final Frontier tour. But now to this awesome artwork, if I do say so. I might like the artwork more than I like the album itself.
Looks
Let's do a
great on
zoom in.
vinyl.
Let's do a zoom in so you can see it a little bit better. So there we go. There's the Brave New World cover with the top part by Derek Riggs. And you can totally tell there's a lineage there with the Seventh Son Cloud Eddie, you know, the Evil That Men Do Eddie.
The
Very
nose
much.
and the sort of eye sockets as well. Oh, and his fangs as well. His vampiric fangs.
And if you look here, you can see another sort of phantom face in the clouds. The cityscape of London looks really cool. Look at that. There's Tower Bridge. And I don't know my London that well, but I think right behind it would be London Bridge. I believe that is London Bridge. You can see these sort of like nuclear boats going through and those futuristic buildings
in the sky.
Some spaceships in the sky. Look at the texture on the water. This is very early computer generated art for, you know, for this kind of, I shouldn't say very early because they were doing this stuff in the 90s, but not to this level of quality.
Yeah, much better than Synthetic Dimensions attempts at the X Factor, not the X Factor, Virtual 11 liner notes.
Yeah. And sadly, they take a real serious step back one studio album from here.
Yeah.
But we're not ready to go there yet. Anyway, I think this is one of Maiden's best album covers. Oh, and you know what? There's the patented Derek Riggs lightning. He's always got to have lightning. I think it's one of their better album covers, personally. I love the color palette.
Oddly enough, I don't see a Derek Riggs signature on here.
I did not see one either. But on the back cover, they're looking up. At what? We don't know. But look at Nick. I don't know. Nico looks kind of silly to me looking up there. Adrian looks like, well, what the hell is it? Look, Yannick looks scared. Bruce looks casual. But then there's looks like Rover from The Prisoner.
Yeah, you've got the balls from in The Prisoner, it was just singular, I believe, but you've got multiple that show up on the back here and during the video.
Yeah. I think that about covers everything I wanted to talk about. Anything else you guys want to say before we rate this album out of 10?
I like the use of blues on the album cover. I think it's very eye-catching. It looked good in the record store.
It did, and I think there's something about it that's reminiscent of Live After Death, when blue is that dominant color, and Seventh Son. So lineage to two great albums. Well, I think at the end of the day, I'm going to rate this album a 9 out of 10. I think it was the comeback album that Maiden needed to do. I was very surprised at the time when I found out that some of the songs were predating the Bruce reunion and actually were considered for the Blaze era. To me, it all sounded fresh and new. And I thought, I know the production of Kevin Shirley has come under a lot of criticism, and a lot of people think it's time for them to ditch the Caveman. But I think this fresh and new angle is completely different from the Martin Birch albums. They do not sound, this album sounds nothing like a Martin Birch album at all. And I think that was what was needed at the time. Maiden took over the world one more time. The chart action may not indicate it, but this was the start of a serious ball that starts rolling. Anyway, 9 out of 10 for me. Gentlemen.
You want me to go, Harrison?
Might as well, yes.
Okay. I think I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10. It's a really great record. A couple songs are okay that I might take off of the album because this was the CD era when everyone was making long albums, and a 67-minute album might be a tad too long. So I take that and the two songs into consideration. So 8.5 out of 10 for me.
All right, so I'd give it a 3. It's not a bad album, but I'd give it a 3.9. Let's say a 4 out of 5 stars. Now you might not say, well, that's pretty high. Well, yeah, compared to like any other band's album, just about this stacks up pretty well against it. But for Iron Maiden, it's a bottom third Iron Maiden album for me. It's one of the lesser ones, in my opinion, and I'm going to go on record. I think I've said this before, but I much, much, much prefer Angel of Retribution as a comeback album to this one. Angel of Retribution is like in my top 3 Judas Priest albums.
Contrarian takes.
Loch Ness. I don't know if I can agree. Anyway, that's a whole other show, folks. And maybe we should do a comeback album battle at some point on the show. But This has been an epic episode of 50 Years of Iron Maiden. I want to thank Davey Cretin from Cretin's Classics. You can find him on YouTube. Just look up Cretin's Classics. He's got a ton of great stuff, ton of great guests. He talks prog, he talks metal, he talks everything. He's also doing that should still be, well, maybe it's you finish the series by the time this airs, but he also did a great series on Styx on Grant's Rock Warehouse. So absolutely check that stuff out. Thank you for watching. Please give us a like, give us a subscription. And hey, if you've got some metal loving friends, share the show with them and see if you can get them into it too. It all helps. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time on 50 Years of Iron Maiden.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Bring wood and oil. A funeral pyre for Denethor and Faramir. I think that might be the wrong movie. Your time will come. Clink, 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 clink. I'm breathing in microplastics. Oh, I've got to stand down, man.